Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are doing leftover meal. This means this meal is going to be leftovers that I pulled out of the refrigerator. And you're going to be hard to believe that this meal was so good, so tasty, and it really was a zero cost. Because, well, I shouldn't say zero. I did pull out some frozen veggies to heat up to go with this meal, but most of this meal was all leftovers, and the star of it was those purple potatoes. And we had leftover pot roast, and I used that in the meal also. So there's lots of things you can do. This pot roast, I made about 20 servings out of it. So really, even though I spent quite a bit for the meat, it was still super cost effective because I used it in so many different meals and leftovers. So remember, a good cut of meat can go a long ways. And this was a lot cheaper than using hamburger meat, plus much tastier. So that's what we did with the leftover pot roast. We made 20 servings. Is that not great? Now I did pull out some frozen vegetables from the freezer for this leftover meal. I mixed some corn and mixed vegetables with a little bit of butter, threw it in the microwave for, I don't know, like 3 minutes. And when that was cooking, I sliced up that roast beef and I put it on a plate. And I had some leftover purple potatoes, the star of the show, and there's dinner. This was maybe a 10-minute, and this is even stretching it, 5 to 10-minute meal because everything was fully cooked except for the frozen vegetables. I just had to warm up the roast beef, and I had plenty of liquid still in with that roast beef to pour over and keep everything moist. You can see the steam coming off of it, and I warmed up the purple potatoes also with it. I'm telling you, it was so good and yummy. Everything was leftovers except for the frozen vegetables, and I think we couldn't get it any cheaper. Always shop your refrigerator, your pantry, and look for those leftovers before starting a meal. You might be surprised instead of throwing it in the trash, you've made a meal from this leftover pot roast. Oh my gosh, that pot roast went so far, and we still have some pot roast left to make another meal, or a sandwich, or something. That's a lot of pot roast still left. So, what do you think? Do you think Grandma nailed it? Or, well, maybe Grandma, you could have done a better job. But if you've never had those purple potatoes, give them a try. They're really unusual to look at. They taste wonderful. Just add a few seasonings to it, a little bit of sour cream to stretch it out a little bit and brighten up that purple color. And oh my gosh, just get a couple slices of roast beef, leftovers. Instead of throwing it in the trash, make something out of it. Make a different meal, even though we still already had pot roast. But it really made a big difference, just having something a little different. Those purple potatoes instead of the russet potatoes did add a lot of flavor and a lot of color to this plate. Because you saw I still had russet potatoes left from the roast beef when I showed the pan. But it's good not to get bored. It's good to see something that looks a little different, even though basically it's the same thing. It's tricking the eye to the mind what you're eating. So look in that kitchen. See what you got that maybe look a little different and yummy. And don't forget your frozen vegetables. They're a lot healthier than canned. And I think they go a lot further than a can because I'm only heating up what we're usually going to eat. So what do you think? Let me know if you think I nailed it or I should have done something different. We're not big eaters, and truthfully, this was plenty of food to eat. And hope you enjoyed what I put together today for budget meal leftovers, because you can't get any cheaper than what I made these meals at. And the cooking time when you're tired, you don't have to go in there and cook a real meal. Not that this isn't a real meal, but I cooked it under 10 minutes. Everything, because all I did was warm it up. The only thing I would say I would cooked was those frozen vegetables. Basically, I warmed up the meat, the potatoes on the plate, and we had dinner. And as you see, I ate it, and it was wonderful, and it was really good. Just don't heat that meat up too long and dry it out in the microwave. That's probably my only little trick. I did pull it out and get it a little more at room temperature before I put it in the microwave. But everything got eaten. We really enjoyed our meal, and anyone can do this. It's not a difficult, hard thing to do, and it's always going to taste a little different because you never know what kind of leftovers you're going to have in your refrigerator. So come on, guys, start thinking out of the box on how to get that grocery bill down and still cook like a pauper and eat like a queen. Oh my gosh, this meal was wonderful. Well, thank you all for stopping by. Thank you for your kindness and all your support. And remember, we want to eat like we're queens, right, guys? And you couldn't ask for a better meal for almost free. So, leftovers is always the best way to go. Let me know what you thought, and if you're enjoying this series on leftover meals, I really am inspiring my own self to get in that kitchen and start looking, because that's sometimes what we need to do for ourselves. Well, I love you all. See you next Wednesday night for leftover meals. This is something I really love doing, and I hope you enjoy it too. Don't forget, the star of this video was those purple potatoes. They are my joy, and I really am enjoying them. I'm going to try to grow them because they are just such a wonderful, wonderful potato, and they are a little on the pricey side, but I'm going to attempt to try to grow them this year. So let me know what you thought, and we always enjoy hearing from you.